quick and simple sweet corn zucchini fritters with a wonderful chipotle sauce. You can't go wrong with these. You're gonna love them. Let's make them. So I grew up with a zucchini fritter that we had often, once in a while a corn fritter, but why not put the two together? Because when they're in season, let's use them. Zucchini, if you grow it, you're gonna have too much of it. If not, you're gonna find it at any farmer's market or place you get groceries to. Same with sweet corn. And when it's in season, you wanna make all the things you can. And yes, while we love just eating sweet corn off the cob, it's nice to do other things with it, right? And make other things. So what we're gonna start with, it's a very simple process, and that's what I love about this. We're gonna start with a couple eggs. So this is what's gonna bind everything together. We know what eggs do. They bind everything together and they make it so it's cohesive. So you definitely need those. And what I like to do is once I have them in here, look at those beautiful eggs. There's just something gorgeous about an egg. What I like to do is break up the yolk and then just give them a good whisk. This way when we put everything else in, it will just combine together much easier. So I like to have these in the bottom. Make sure we just break that white and yolk together. And look at that, somewhat cohesive. So now what we wanna do is talk about all these other ingredients we're gonna put in. So with the zucchini, what I've been doing, I always like to use a smaller zucchini because then it won't have the heavy seeds inside. Now if you grow zucchini, you're gonna know sometimes you get those boats. Massive zucchini, they're kind of like a miniature bat. What you wanna do is cut those in half, take out all the extra seeds because there's just too much of the water content. So instead with a smaller one, I just go ahead and grate the whole thing on a small grater, and then we're just gonna put that right in there. Now, zucchini has a lot of what? It has a lot of moisture content in it. So that's why we don't have a lot of other moisture in this, because this is gonna be, a lot of our binder too is all the moisture in the zucchini. So I'm gonna put the zucchini right in, and I leave the skin on. You can, of course, I know my one grandma would always peel it, my other one wouldn't, but the reason I do is I'm not trying to hide what's in there. I like to see the skin, and in my head, there's some extra nutrients, but some people are really turned off by it. Peel it if you are. And if it gets a lot bigger, when you get those massive zucchini, you usually want to peel those too because they get a tough skin. Along with that, I want some onion. Now, just a little bit of onion, but it's important here because there's not a lot of flavors going into this. That's because we want the corn to actually come through. Zucchini itself doesn't have a lot of flavor, so we need things like onion and other things to actually flavor it. So we're gonna put the onion right in here too. This is what's so simple about this. It all goes right in here. Now you can see on the corn, I've already been preparing it. And what I do is just have a couple cobs that I completely husk. Now if you're gonna say, I can't get sweet corn, or if you're gonna say, what if it's off season? Just use frozen corn. Now you can see all I'm doing is cutting down along it. Now this can be a messy process. I know some people like to have it where they put it, on a bump pan in the middle. I don't like to do that because I think you then end up getting little nicks on your bump pan with your knife. I am used to cutting corn off because my family always puts massive amounts of corn in the freezer every year. And to do that, we cut off tons of corn after it's cooked and we freeze it. You can see my video actually on my website of the process in a little bit simpler way. So I'm used to cutting corn off. But now that we have our corn, there's something about fresh corn that when it is in season, you just want to use it. So I'm gonna put that right in there too, and then we'll start mixing it together. Once this is all in here, I'm just gonna mix all these. Honestly, the zucchini to me almost acts like a wet ingredient, so that's why I like to mix these first. But look right here what we have. We have like the essence of summer, and that's what I love. Whether it's July or August, you have this beauty in the bounty. So maybe you get CSA boxes and think, okay, I need to do something different with zucchini this week. This is it. This is something different. And it's just delicious. I remember going to grandma's all the time, which was in this house when grandma lived here and grandpa. And she would make these zucchini fritters all the time. That's what kind of got me in love with them. So now we want to talk about more flavor. So here I have a little bit of garlic powder, granulated garlic, a little bit of cayenne, just to give it some heat underneath, and some black pepper. Nothing too strong, but enough to kind of bring out and counteract the sweetness of the corn, get out more flavor. We're gonna do a little bit of flour, and that's just obviously gonna bind everything together. That's needed. And then we're gonna do some salt, just to make sure everything's seasoned, and some baking powder. So the last one we're gonna add is some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. So again, this is a flavor. This is a seasoning almost in itself. And I always think freshly grated is super important here because that jarred, or just grated Parmesan, I should say, that jarred stuff, it just isn't the same that's in a bottle. So we're gonna put that right in there and mix it all together. So now we just mix all these together. And this is gonna be kind of just a simple, not really a batter on it, but you're gonna see how it slightly binds it. But this is what I love about these, is it's simple. So these can be a side dish. You know what, if it's just lunch, do this with a salad. That's your meal, that's enough for me. And I think that's what's great about them, is they can really be versatile. Now we will make a sauce to go with them too, just to make it extra special and give it a little bit, you know, something extra. I think a sauce sometimes can like finish things out a little bit and make it a little bit easier. So I have this all mixed together, and then we'll start frying them. So you can see how this kind of just becomes a batter. This is our little pancakes. This is what they're gonna be, our little fritters. So we'll take them over. I have a skillet that's heating on kind of medium-low heat. And what I wanna do is that I'm gonna add ghee. Now the reason I'm gonna add ghee, which is clarified butter, has the milk solids taken out of it, it can take a higher temperature. So you can lightly saute / kind of fry these fritters in ghee. Now, if you don't have that or don't wanna do that, just use a higher heat oil, like an avocado oil. You just don't want something that burns. You don't want it to get, you know, burned on you or stuck to the bottom. So that's why we're using this. You could also use a nonstick griddle if that's what you have. It's kind of whatever you have. So I'm gonna melt this butter into here. And now what we're gonna do is, since it's pretty much melted, and I've been heating this anyway, is I have a small scoop. I find this easier. You could also use 2 spoons. It's, to me, find what works for you and what you're comfortable with, and that's what's gonna work the best. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make little scoops, just a little. And do you hear that? There's just a slight sizzle underneath there. And that's what we want. And I'm gonna do, you don't wanna crowd your pan too much because then they steam more than cook. So I'm gonna do about 4 little rounds here. And what I'll do now is once I have them in there, is we're gonna slightly pat them out. So that just means to make sure that they're gonna cook evenly, I'm gonna just push them out into a little pancake shape. See? And they're kind of just starting to cook. Then we'll flip them once when they're browned, and we'll just continue with the rest of them. I have the last couple here that are just about ready to turn. So you wanna go in under, don't be too scared. You just have to quickly go in, turn it when they're nice and golden. And if they open up a little bit, just push them back together. This is not perfection, but see how nice and beautiful they get? That's what that ghee does. It gets them just beautiful. So what I'm gonna do is turn off the burner. There's gonna be enough residual heat in that I know those 2 will finish. For these, you can always have an oven going at 200 degrees, put them on a rack so they don't get soggy, and then just pop them in that oven. That will keep them warm. I'm gonna be eating these pretty quickly with you, so I'm not too worried. Before we eat them, I do wanna show you, I have one over here that fell apart, and you wanna know why? I just think it's good to see what can go wrong and what would happen. If you look in it, it had one big piece of zucchini that I missed and didn't grate well, so it created a really weakened spot in it that when I flipped it, it just fell apart. That's why you just wanna make sure you evenly grate it. If you get a big piece in there, it may not hold together. But look how beautiful these are. It smells delicious. But just to elevate them ever so slightly, not that they really need it, make a quick sauce. So I have some mayonnaise here. I use homemade mayonnaise because I love that. I have videos on it, or it's on my website too, but we're gonna doctor it up a little bit. So I have some chipotle powder, which is spicy, but has a smokiness to it, and then some Mexican oregano. Now, if you're scared about the spice, then you can just use smoked paprika. That will give you the smokiness without any spice. Mexican oregano, to me, is something you should have. It is so delicious if you can find it. It's dried, but if you can find fresh, use that too. It's different than what we're used to. And then I'm gonna just crush a garlic clove right into all this because I want that flavor. So it's kind of like the idea of an aioli, but slightly amped up a little bit. And then just to offset all that, we're gonna put in some lime juice. So I'm gonna just squeeze, I'm just gonna push it against here to make sure I get all those cell walls broken so they really get juicy. What the lime juice will do, adds a little bit of acidity, obviously. It goes well with the chipotle, and it just adds that nice little kick. And so we're gonna put that right in there, just half of it. And now we can just mix that together. And as you mix it, you can just see it becomes a little bit thinner from the lime, but more so it takes on that beautiful color from the chipotle. It's the perfect sauce. You might just find that you're gonna wanna use this for a lot of things. And again, if you don't want the spice, just switch it out for that smoked paprika that has no spice, just the smokiness. Look how beautiful that is. Okay, I need to grab a plate so I can make sure and taste these for you because we wanna know they're good. So you can just serve these up however you want. A little bit of the sauce, a lot of bit of the sauce, let's just say. But then I think a little bit of cilantro on it could be good. Oh, you could do the fresh parm on it if you want. They're just great to have. Think of this as a side dish. Think of it with a salad, kind of however you want, and it's gonna be delicious. So just take it. that sauce takes it like from here, which is really good, to like here. It's great. What I love about it is it's kind of humble when you think about it. You have a little bit of flour that binds it, and you have those simple spices, a little bit of kick from the cayenne that brings out the sweetness of the corn, offsets it. You get the zucchini with the texture. Zucchini doesn't have a lot of flavor, so it picks up all these other flavors. The Parmesan seasons it well, helps bind it. You don't necessarily know it's there. You just get that great, well-seasoned flavor. Then the sauce on top. Makes me happy, and I think it will you too. So what do I hope you do with this? I hope you make these. Find a new way to enjoy some of your summer vegetables that you could have a lot of or be seen everywhere and just want to use. Because that's the thing, we see these in the summer, we want to find ways to use them and enjoy them at home too. This is a great way to do it. Maybe even get kids involved because everyone likes a little pancake or fritter. So share it around. When you share these videos, it helps me, but it helps everyone else see this is doable. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Check my website, wiseguide.com, for this whole recipe and all my other recipes. Until next time, make something delicious.